I guess this is what you guys want, and maybe I'm missing the plot. I came out with a video. I came out with a couple of videos talking about my displeasures of season two so far, and I'm not a content creator. I'm nothing like that. I'm not even trying to specifically be a Battlefield content creator as someone lumped me into that category. That's not what I'm trying to be. I'm just a dude that plays games. I've been playing Battlefield 2 since it came out. I'm more of a Halo fan. Never really got into COD. I think the only COD I played is when I went over to my brother-in-law's house and we played zombies on Kino der Toten and Shangri-La. What was that, Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 1? See, I don't even know which Black Ops that was. So, yeah, I'm not really into COD. But the thing is, I've always been a Halo fan over those three franchises, or the other two, right? So Halo over Battlefield, Battlefield over COD, that's always been what I liked. Halo went downhill after Halo Reach. When we got Halo 4, it just didn't hit the same. Halo 5, Halo Infinite, I thought was a step in the right direction, and then it went downhill. And the thing is, with Battlefield 6, I thought it was a step back in the right direction from 2042, right? And I was having flashbacks to Halo Infinite. I was like, "Uh-oh, what's going on here?" When Season 2 came out and the movement nerfs and the gun changes, I was like, I'm getting this Halo Infinite vibe again, where like we had something cool, but it wasn't executed properly, and now the game is dead. I I don't know what it is. I guess I just come from a very unique perspective, like point of view. I'm realizing like my opinion isn't shared widely, and I'm missing the mark for most of the audience for Battlefield because apparently everybody is praising the movement nerfs, everybody is praising the gunplay changes, everybody likes that, and I feel like I'm the only one that thinks it ruined the game or it hurt the game instead of bettering it. So I commented on this one short on my phone. I was just chilling, scrolling through Reels, or it's not Instagram, it's YouTube Shorts, but same thing, right? Just scrolling through YouTube Shorts, and I got on this one guy. I think he's like a AI channel. I think people call this guy an AI channel. If you're not, sorry, dude. But DZSH Gaming. This guy does like a lot of videos trying to engage the community. He misses the mark. He doesn't miss the mark. That's not his point. His point is just to get engagement. This is what you would call a actual YouTuber, a content creator. I'm not like that. I'm just trying to be a dude that upload videos of my opinions, kind of like Zach Asmongold or like Charlie from Penguins. So I'm just trying to do shit like that. I'm not trying to sit here and give you like all this structured scripts and stuff like that, following the developers everywhere they go, stuck up their ass, trying to give you all the updates and asking all the questions and stuff like that. I'm just giving you my opinion as a casual gamer who likes to play competitively, who happens to like the Battlefield series to an extent, and that's it. So the video in particular was Battlefield 6 vehicle changes soon, and it was talking about how the devs are listening to player feedback and concerns about vehicle balancing, and they might be bringing some changes essentially to the light armor vehicles, because it was kind of vague. They were mentioning Jeeps, but they didn't really mention like all the light armor. So people are wondering, are they just going to bring changes to the Jeeps, or are they going to bring changes to light vehicles as a whole overboard? So that's kind of vague. So, and they're getting these feedback from people in the Battlefield Labs, to which I think I have the top comment out of likes on this video, and I said, and I've said this multiple times on many of this guy's videos in the past. I said, I feel like whoever is joining these Battlefield Labs is the wrong people to be in there. Now, 111 likes, that's new for today, and shameless, I liked my own comment because it was at 49, and I was like, I want it to be 50, so we can go ahead and, no, because I like the 111, so we're keeping that. Anyway, I don't know, I'm kind of weird, got OCD on random things. At the time, I had like 50 or 49 likes or whatever, and every other comment was like under 20 likes or 10 likes. So that told me that majority of the community agrees with this in this particular video, not in Battlefield community as a whole, but whoever happened to come across this video at the time, that many people felt the same way to put my comment up there in terms of the most likes. However, the comments are completely different. The replies, I mean, the replies I got to my comment would tell you that a lot of these people do not agree. So it's kind of one of these things where the silent majority agrees, but the vocal minority is louder. You see what I'm saying? So this guy claims I'm in there and I've been playing Battlefield since Bad Company 2. The Discord is filled with veteran players. I consider myself one, but some of these guys are on a whole nother level and aren't afraid to go hard on the dev team with opinions, as they should. Our voices are being put out there. Trust me. Well, see, this doesn't tell me much. It does tell me that the guys that are in the labs are being strong. They are giving their opinions, they are voicing their concerns, and they're laying it into the devs. That does tell me that. But what specifically are they pushing to the devs? So back to my original comment, I feel like whoever is joining these Battlefield labs is the wrong people to be in there. That still stands because that means that this very few that are in the labs, are they voicing the right concerns? Because so far, I just see people mainly talking about skins, bro. But I said, I hope so because I'm just not seeing it. Too many people worried about the skins and celebrating when the skins get toned down. Yes, the Call of Duty like skins are bad, but not the main issue. Until we start complaining about the time to kill and how movement nerfs essentially killed player freedom, and the only counter to fast time to kill, I won't be satisfied. What I mean by that is, if your guns are basically laser beams and they're instantly killing people, not all guns, but a lot of them, a lot more than we had in season one are now instantly killing people in season two. Movement is a good counter to that. You don't want to be locked down to a certain spot behind a car. You got three dudes shooting at that car they're using for cover, and pretty soon they're gonna take out a grenade launcher, take out an RPG. Maybe a sniper is gonna be like, "What the hell is going on over at the car?" Now he's gonna start looking at the car too. So now you got four people. You don't want to be in that spot. You need to get out of it. You need to reset. You need to move. You need to reposition. You got into a bad spot by bad positioning or just pure happenstance. These players weren't looking. You didn't see them. You got in that spot and all of a sudden players were there or they spawned there and now they're shooting at you and you're in a bad spot all of a sudden. You need to reposition. Yes, you might die in the action of trying to reposition, but it's made so much more difficult to reposition yourself because now not only is the movement slower, but the enemy's weapons are more accurate. So decisions of let me get out of this spot now become even more riskier than they used to be. Now it's like, I guess I'll be the captain and go down with the ship. I can't leave this spot. I just have to sit here, pop up every now and then, try to, do some retaliatory fire back at the enemy, but there's four guys on me now and a sniper, so I can't really do that, but that's the only option I have. I could wait for my team to come up and save me, give me some more suppressive fire. I could do any of these things, but it's a game that you're playing online with a bunch of random people. Never are you going to have too many options or moments, sorry, where your team or squad comes up to save the day to give you a chance to get out of that spot to reposition to be in a better position of power. Rarely does that happen. So people say this isn't a one-man army type of game, but you need the players to have all tools readily available at their disposal to be able to act upon, because if you limit their movement, then you're taking away these said tools. It's that simple. You know? It's not a big deal, but it's just like people are not getting why nerfing movement is bad. And then and the same thing with the guns. The guns, I don't know what's going on with them. Some guns you have the crosshair off the enemy and it's still killing them. Sometimes you have the crosshair on the enemy and you're missing every shot. And then you could just use the meta weapons that everybody's using, and these things are just beaming the hell out of people instantly. So it's like, well, season two is the season of the meta weapons. You are feeling like a dumbass if you use any other weapon besides the meta weapons. So that's why I say We now have 2.5 handful of weapons that are considered meta, instant killing people up from just only one handful in Season 1. So we had guns in Season 1 like the Cord, um, oh my god, the Cord, the SCW-10, KV9 was hit or miss. Why am I drawing a blank from this? This is how many times I've talked about it with my friend off recording that I just like I'm tired of mentioning these guns from Season 1. Like that's how brain fatigued I'm getting in mentioning this. But you had the Cord, you had the M4A1, you had the SCW-10, you had the DRS. Those like 4 guns right there, everybody knew was like overpowered. And I'm probably missing like 1 or 2 more. But basically a handful, one hand of weapons that were a little overpowered in Season 1. And they just need to tone down a little bit. Every other gun was fine. Now in Season 2, you have 2 handfuls and a half of weapons that need to be toned down. So this is a step in the wrong direction. Well, people would say that's not a step in the wrong direction. Now we have more weapons to use. No, dude. That means you have less weapons that are unique to use. What do you mean by this? Well, now you have 2.5 handful of weapons that are all essentially doing the same damn thing. Where's the variety? Well, the M4A1's recoil pattern's a lot different than the freaking uh, SCW-10. It's not even talking about that. We're talking about the end result when you point the gun, pull the trigger, enemy dead. It's the same. Well, every weapon's like that is the same. I feel like the reason why I say these questions back to myself, because this is like people that don't get what I'm saying. This is what they tell me in comments. It's like they're not getting it. And I can't figure out a way to make people understand exactly what I mean by this. If a gun is killing the other guy on the other side less than a second, basically in a couple of milliseconds, and there's 2.5 handful of guns that do this, by law or by theory, it's all the same weapon. So the only time you're going to get a difference, any variability outside of that, on the concept of how, quick it takes to kill an enemy, is by using the A tier or the B tier weapons, like the M4A2, which has 33 damage per bullet. It can beam people at long range. Sometimes it does. It likes to kick randomly. Up close, it's really dangerous. But then, like in that, anything past 5 meters, it's like the hip fire goes to shit. And it has a mind of its own sometimes. Sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's not. That's the variability that weapon has that makes it unique and doesn't make it the best, but doesn't make it the worst. That's cool. That's a cool gun to use. I like using that gun. I liked it better in Season 1. Don't like it as much as Season 2 because now it feels like a wild horse. Sometimes it'll be accurate, sometimes it's not accurate. It's just all over the place. Whatever. I digress. A2 is a cool gun. M4A1, on the other hand, that thing is so wild, but it's still killing people instantly. I'm now being forced to use it just to have some kind of balance with these other guys that are using these other weapons that kill you instantly. Because they're not doing it with skill. They're just seeing you first pulling the trigger. Dude, I got killed by a guy that ADS to shoot me. I shot him first. His soldier didn't even have the aimer up to his face yet. Matter of fact, it was still halfway, at the top of his stomach, right below his chest. He was pulling up the gun and was already firing at me and killed me when I shot him first. And I died and fell back before the gun even fully came up to the character's face. That is wild. There's no way you're going to sit here and tell me the game was intended to be working that way. How are we having players that have weapons that are so fast, ADS time so fast that the animations can't even keep up with the actual gunplay? How does that make sense? Anyway, one of the comments I had, guy said, essentially players are loud. It's a matter of the devs will continue to listen. I personally think they will, just don't think they have the resources they need right now. I don't even know what that means. But because, I'm not in the studio, and this guy says it's too, but what do I know? I'm not working for them in their studio day to day. I would say they have the resources, but I don't know either. I'm not in their day to day. I don't know what their company plans are. I don't know what the company plans for Battlefield 6 and for potential future games that are not even related to Battlefield, maybe. Maybe they pulled budget. Who knows? Maybe they took a lot of the profits they made from Battlefield 6 and plan on making a whole new franchise, a whole new IP. They might be doing that. Who knows? It's EA. It's a big company, so you have no idea. Um, Another guy said all Battlefields had this problem, and he's talking about the fast time to kill. Normally, they had more restrictive movement, and guns used to be one tap most of the time. Now, he's saying that it's a problem, had this problem, so he probably agrees with me a little bit to an extent. Battlefield 4 did feel like it was insta-killy at times, but, that was basically because of the crappy hit registration back in the day. I have several thousands of hours in Battlefield 4. Like, Battlefield 4 is, to me, is the best Battlefield that's ever been created. Battlefield 3 would be a close second, obviously, because Battlefield 4 is essentially Battlefield 3, just more polished and updated. Um, but Battlefield 3 is still a great game too. And then Bad Company 2 would be my third favorite. Which Bad Company 2 used to be my first favorite. Man, that Vietnam expansion, that that was fire, man, literally. But Battlefield 4 was so damn good to me, and I think that should be the standard that every future Battlefield that comes out after it should try to hit. But that's my opinion. Other people would say, nah, Battlefield 1's the standard, or people say Battlefield 5's the standard, and then these guys that I think are stupid would say Battlefield 2042's the standard. Whatever, dude. But yeah, I do remember some instant kills happening in Battlefield 4. And you could relate that a lot to like bad positioning or shitty netcode. But for most of the gameplay, it wasn't that bad. You actually had time to like think about people you're shooting, to track them with the aimer. It wasn't just put the aimer on them, the crosshair, the reticle, in the optics, put it on them, pull the trigger a little bit, and they're already dead. It wasn't like that. Depending on the weapon you're using, right? So yeah, I guess that issue was there, but bad positioning, good positioning, that's neither here nor there. We're talking about how Battlefield 6 was released, was, in my opinion, a lot better than what it is now in Season 2. The time to kill felt okay. Yes, some guns were OP, but they could have been dialed back a little bit. You know what I'm saying? The SMGs, they could have had their damage drop off start a little sooner, because people are complaining that they're getting killed by SMGs across the map. But then you got to be careful with these guys that say that, because people say that they're getting beamed by SMGs across the map, and then I look at like gameplay that they're talking about, and it's only like 30 meters. What are we talking about here? 50 yards. SMGs in real life can hit out to 50 yards. So, did they think like these guns should only be hitting at 5 yards accurately, and then everything after that should just be like a hail of bullets firing in random directions? I don't know. But you gotta be careful which comments you read on there. The biggest one, though, is from this guy. I don't even know how to say his name. Akamodius. He says, how did they nerf player freedom? By reducing the slide? Making it less like Call of Duty? I have no problem with my character movement. I think it's better since they made the changes. What they need to fix is desync and netcode. No way in hell I should get shot through block walls or a tank kill you through a mountain and mound of dirt. That's the type of shit they need to fix. Yeah, I agree with you, man. 1000% on the last part about the desync and netcode. Hell yeah, I agree with you. I'm tired of dying around cover. I'm tired of getting around a corner and dying 5 feet past the corner. Now, granted, your body falls and continues the momentum after your shot, but I still make it around the corner, and I'm still at least 2-3 feet before that happens, and I just end up 5 feet past the corner as my body falls. But yeah, I agree with this. What I don't agree with is his statement about making it less like Call of Duty. He thinks that having the faster movement we had in Battlefield 6 Season 1 was Call of Duty like. And this is what I keep seeing. For the love of me, I do not understand why you guys think that anything that is fast is Call of Duty. Dude, have you guys even played Call of Duty? I haven't. I like I said, I played zombies back in the day at my brother-in-law's house. I didn't even own the game. I think I bought World War, whatever the hell it was, Call of Duty World War or something like that. I played it for like 2 days, and that was it. Um, I felt like the movement that I see on Call of Duty videos on YouTube whenever they pop up in my shorts feed, I feel like it's a lot faster than what we had in season one. Hell, there's even moments when I was playing Halo Reach where I felt like that gameplay was even fast or on par with what season one was. So the movement speed didn't really bug me at all, and I felt like it was actually perfect. If it was any faster, it'd be to Call of Duty. If it was any slower, it'd be to Arma. I thought it was fun. But for some reason, I think you guys are biased. And I'm never going to get through to you guys because you think that anything that does not feel slow to a point, and keep in mind, Battlefield is an arcade Battlefield game. It's not competitive, it's not a military sim. It's an arcadey, kind of semi realistic shooter. It's not really like Arma or something like that, right? It's still arcadey. So I don't understand why you guys think that the game has to be immersive. You can get immersion through having moments on the battlefield feel like a real battlefield, and I did that in season one a lot. I was holding down a spot on a street, pushing back a whole entire enemy team. I have a YouTube short of this, me and my buddy repelling a whole freaking team of enemies on Team Deathmatch. Or no, it was probably Domination. And it was just me and him trying to fight back the whole guys on the street, and we're just slinging lead down the street. Now that all guns have been made like laser beams, I don't know if I could do that again. Matter of fact, I had a match like that last night. Me and my buddy were at that same spot trying to repel just a couple of dudes that time, not even the whole team, and we were really struggling just with like 1 to 3 people at the end of the street because these guns are too damn accurate now. As soon as I pump my head up, try to fire, I'm already taking so many bullets I have to get back down again. Back then, I could like fire a little bit before I had to get back down again. Now that's not happening. Guns are too damn accurate. It's making a lot of these players that were sucking ass before a lot better now. I've noticed that too. Um, Plus, a lot of these players that couldn't keep up with the movement, now that everything's been slowed down, they're able to keep up with the movement now. So they're playing aggressively at random times when back in season one, they weren't playing like that at all. I've noticed that as well. Basically, what I'm saying, the same guys I noticed that were sucking ass in season one are now doing better in season two. And it's not because they got better, it's because of the changes. Everything has been lowered, everything has been made easier. So I guess you're always going to have this crowd that thinks anything that's too fast is just immediately like Call of Duty. Plus, he doesn't understand the player freedom statement. It's just this is alien language to him that I'm speaking. He cannot grasp the concept. And to me, if he cannot grasp the concept, then that means that he's not playing on the same level that I am. He's still probably a couple tiers down below to not grasp that simple concept that when you nerf movement, you are nerfing players' choices to be able to make split decisions on the battlefield. And I go right here and I try to explain it, basically what I just said here. I'll go ahead and just recap it a little bit. You make guns that fire and kill opponents in less than a second. The only counter is movement. That's what I mean by nerfing freedom. You are left with very few options as before to counter an enemy getting the drop on you. Also, it punishes aggressive playstyles and enables more camping playstyles. Top it off with a crap hit registration and dying behind cover, you have a mess of a game. There is no tactical movement anymore, and I need to stop saying these absolutes like there is no this, I need to say there is less. There is less. There is not as much. I need to change my vocab on that a little bit better. Where was I? Yeah, there is less tactical movement. High risk, high reward has been shifted to camp with S tier weapons. Movement is now more slow pace. Why risk running out to revive or throw down some ammo for a teammate across the street when I can get beamed instantly now? Season 1, you had a handful of weapons that needed to be toned down. In Season 2, you have two handfuls and a half that need to be toned down. So if you're playing with a gun that isn't insta-killing people, then by default you're playing the Season 2 meta wrong, because that's all it is people using these weapons to have the edge over others. This doesn't enforce player diversity or player improvement. See, in Season 1, there was still some room for player improvement. You could work to get better at the game. You could learn positioning. You didn't have to worry about your gun aim as much. It's just as long as you had better positioning and you were a better scout and you could scout out the enemies on the map better and do it from good positions, you could raise your KD that way. You didn't even have to be the best shot in the game. Now, don't worry about being the best shot in the game because guns will do all the work for you, and you don't even have to worry about moving anymore. You can just camp all game because now everybody's too slow to get away from your laser beam gun. So why do you need to move anymore? You don't. Anyway, this doesn't enforce player diversity or player improvement. It's now become a technical game where stats and see, click, shoot, and I win gameplay. I would say what we have now is more Call of Duty than Season 1, but that would be an insult to Call of Duty. What we have now is a limp dick battlefield that caters to no one. And that's how the developers of the game want it to cater to a wide crowd, especially the casual crowd. Nothing wrong with a little sweat in the game, and I felt like preseason 2 was better than what we have now in that regard. Just needed more weapons, maps, hit registration improvements, and balancing. That's it. And I stand by that. I think Season 1 was way better than Season 2 in terms of how the game actually plays. Now, the meta in Season 1 was kind of boring because everybody was just camping. One team would be steamrolling the other. You had too many of these guys just camping around, not pushing the objective, not playing the objective. And I'm talking about in small map modes. I always mainly talk about small map modes specifically. Just keep that in mind in case you're listening. You're thinking I'm playing big map modes. I don't play big map modes. You want to know why? Because I don't think they're as good as Battlefield 4's. I don't. I don't think they're as good. And for the life of me, every time I try to go play Escalation, because I do enjoy Escalation. That's probably my favorite big map mode. Sorry, Conquest, you've been replaced for me. I just can't get into it. I don't like the camping. I don't like the randomness anymore of Conquest. I just not a fan of it. I like playing smaller arena-sized maps. I think the maps that we have for small map modes are not the best. I wish we had Goldman Railway Squad Deathmatch back in the game. I wish we had Flood Zone from Battlefield 4 back in the game. I wish we had Parcel Storm and Hyman Resort back in the game for those small map modes. Those were really good. But we're probably not going to get those maps. We might get Goldman Railway, but it probably won't even be a 1-to-1 in Squad Deathmatch. They might not even pick the village for us to fight on. We might be on the southern side of the Goldman Railway for Squad Deathmatch. So like I don't feel like they're doing squad deathmatch right at all in Battlefield 6. It used to be my favorite game mode, but now I'm leaning more towards domination and strike point. Anyway, and see when I say things like this, the Battlefield community they have a hard time just thinking I should be playing anything other than Conquest. How dare you? You're not a true Battlefielder. You only play small map modes. You're Call of Duty. And what is this? I don't know what this is, but it's really getting on my nerves because it's like, dude, the small map modes do not compete with big map modes. There are players who love Battlefield for the gun mechanics, the gadgets, the gameplay, and not really into the whole freaking conquest vibe. They just rather play like an arena style or something like we used to do back in the day on Halo. This is my point of view. I loved Halo. I loved the maps they had. I would like to go back and play that type of style of gameplay in Battlefield because I like the way the gun mechanics work in Battlefield. I like the modern warfare vibe where you got the modern combat with the weapons and everything like that. That's cool. I like that. So that's what I'm naturally going to gravitate to is the small map modes. If I want to play a bigger map mode, it's going to be Rush. Not escalation, not breakthrough, not conquest. I'm going to go to rush. And that's considered to me a medium map mode. That's what I would rather play is rush if I feel like doing something a little larger. because I do not enjoy the maps on big map mode for Battlefield 6. Just don't. It's not the same. Because what brings me to big map modes is vehicles. And if vehicles feel bad, then I have no reason to go to big map modes. That's just how I feel. The main battle tank is my favorite ground vehicle. I do not like the way that it operates inside of Battlefield 6. I do feel like it is tanky to a point, as long as you're taking most of the damage to the front. However, it's not as agile as it used to be in Battlefield 4, and it doesn't feel like it hits as hard either. So that was a turnoff. The attack helicopter is actually my favorite vehicle, or used to be, for flying. And in Battlefield 6, it's nowhere near as good as the Zulu attack helicopter from Battlefield 4. Your long range capabilities have been neutered. You do not have your TV missile. You cannot coordinate with your pilot as good. It feels like you're playing an Apache more like a Zulu in real life than what Apache is supposed to be used for. Everything's locking onto you. Everything can shoot you now. RPGs are way too fast in taking out attack helicopters way too easily. And Battlefield 4, they were not that fast. You can kind of dodge them a little bit. You were more worried about the S-Raw in Battlefield 4 when flying an attack helo versus an RPG. Let's put it that way. Now you're more worried about an RPG in Battlefield 6 than anything else. Jets, I never really, I flew jets more in Battlefield 4 than I did in Battlefield 6, but I never really been a jet guy, so I'll never get that Renzaduke or Benzaduke, whatever the hell achievement it's called. Where you jump out of the jet and freaking RPG a jet behind you and then get back in your jet. I'll never do that. I don't care either. I've never been into jets. I think they're cool, just not for me. Now my new favorite vehicle in Battlefield 6, because my two previous favorites for ground and air just feel horrible, is the IFV, the infantry fighting vehicle. That has now become my new favorite. And whenever I get it itching to play some IFV, guess what? I'll just go to Rush. I don't need to play Conquest, Breakthrough, Escalation to get my IFV fix. I'll just queue up some Rush. Yeah, player may get into the tank before I can, but it's not a big deal because the next round or next time it blows up, I'll make sure to get it. I'll make sure to grab it, and I'll play with the IFE that way. And I'll have more pleasant time because it's usually just me versus the defenders. So the only thing I'm watching out for is a bunch of RPGs coming my way, and I have to play strategically with my team. I have to help them push into the MCOM station so that we can take it without dying, and also making sure that I'm going on these crazy killing sprees to make it easier for my team to push into the MCOM. To me, that's cool. To me, that's Battlefield as fuck. Not this random ass shit on Conquest where you're pushing, there might be only two infantry guys with you, and you're getting hit randomly from all directions. That's just not, that's just chaos, and that's what you guys like. Is chaos. That's what I don't like. I don't mind it because you can have. I'm not saying chaos doesn't exist in medium or small map modes, but I'm saying I don't like that as much as I used to now, like I did back in the day. I kind of gotten out of that. Rush is kind of predictable because the enemy, you have to push into them to get to the MCOM, so they're going to be mainly in front of you, left, front, right. That's it, but mainly in front of you. So it's like easier to kind of like figure out where the enemy is going to be coming from, where they're going to be shooting you from. You still have to look around, you still have to figure it out and find them, but you have a more understanding where they're going to be at. So that that's just why I like Rush, and I like defending too. That can be fun as well. I like both. This guy says you need to work as a team, not a one-man army. In Breakthrough, one person doesn't push. Instead of dodging bullets using movement, the whole team pushes and uses smokes to get through. You can't all get killed at once. Some may die, but it's normal to die a lot in Battlefield games. If they were to add Call of Duty movement, then it'll just become a sweat fest, and I hope that can stay in COD and not creep into Battlefield. See, this guy is also missing. This is becoming old and repetitive at this point, and this is what's making me think that this is just what you guys want. If anything remotely even hints towards Call of Duty, you guys grab the torches and pitchforks and start rushing to the comment sections. You're not even thinking about gameplay in general, how to make Battlefield 6 gameplay better. You're just thinking anything Call of Duty, And because like I need to have this moment to myself to realize this, but I need to change the way that I'm making videos because now I'm understanding that I'm the minority here. See, I didn't think I was the majority either. I didn't know. I just started making videos like recently, like what, a month ago. So I was just, and Battlefield 6 happens to be the game I'm playing. When Warhammer Total War Warhammer 40K comes out, I'll be moving to that and making videos about that. I'm not loyal video content wise just to Battlefield. I like Battlefield. I was enjoying Battlefield 6. Not as much anymore since season 2. Um, but that being said, it's just anytime you try to mention any improvement for the game or take it in the right direction, it's just you guys just think we want it to be like Call of Duty. I don't know where this is coming from. I don't even play Call of Duty. I'm more of a Halo fan. Whatever. This you need to work as a team and not one man army, but that's the thing when you're playing with randoms, you're not going to get the team vibe. And I always play with my random team. I use them as bullet shields. So how dare you say I'm not playing as a team? In Breakthrough, one person doesn't just push. Well, yeah, no shit. Just like in Rush, one person doesn't just rush in. But sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to because the enemy's defenses are. Take Siege of Cairo and Rush, for example. After you, as the attackers, push past the first two sets of incom stations, that second set, where one's in that courtyard that not even the infantry fighting vehicle can get into, and it's a courtyard that's only has like what, 4 entrances to get in there, and the entire enemy team is camping inside of there. And those 4 entrances are narrow channels. They're narrow side streets. So that means you're going to be funneling in to get in. And you're met with a whole enemy team with guns, lock and loaded, aimed at every single one of those little funnel points. Incendiary grenades, RPGs, grenade launchers. That shit. One guy is definitely not pushing through that. But guess what? A whole team is going to need to push, and they're going to need to push hard to be able to break that gridlock. And if you got guys moving slower than before, and the guns are a lot more accurate, guess what? It's not as easy. Well, then you could use smokes, you can use incendiary grenades to try and counter it, but it's not as easy as it sounds. You guys believe in these, like, well, you guys are armchair generals with your theories. Well, just throw grenades, throw incendiary grenades, throw flashbangs. Yeah, in a perfect world, that should work, but it doesn't all the time. Me and my buddies, we actually had a moment like that. We had a team that was inside of that same situation. They were defending, and they just used incendiary grenades to block the channels and left one open, so it was easier for them to defend. And they were funneling a lot of the kills in that one channel they weren't throwing fire grenades into. So we couldn't push in because of the incendiaries. If we tried, we'd be too damaged, and they would pick us off with bullets anyway. And then if we go the other way, most of them were aiming at that, you know, funnel that wasn't on fire, so we couldn't really push that way either. And then on the other side of it, when me and my buddy were trying to rush in, this was a different match. We were throwing incendiaries and smoke grenades in there and anything we could just to get in. And we actually did get the push in, but it was not that easy. And it took the entire team to do it. And we still lost. Like, we got in there to arm it and we all died. They disarmed it and we still lost. So it's not as easy as people say. Just throw smoke grenades and you win. It's this the never does anything never anything in life is just as easy as somebody says it's going to be. To which I replied to this guy, you know, small map and medium map modes exist, and people like playing them exclusively, like me, for Battlefield 6, unfortunately, because I do not like big map modes in Battlefield 6. I know this is a hard pill for most Battlefield fans to accept for reasons I do not understand. I love Rush and Bad Company, and I love Squad Deathmatch in Battlefield 4, and welcome the modes on top of Conquest. However, that's neither here nor there. Players like you wanting to work as a team with smokes and coordinated gunplay have it just as bad. Yes, they do. When movement is nerfed, this limits the capabilities of tactical play. When guns are laser beams and a couple of them are instant killing people, this limits, I shouldn't say doesn't allow, but this limits for any dynamic gameplay. Yes, it does. Through and through. That's basically, my point on all this. And the whole point of why I'm recording this right now is because I'm realizing I am a part of the minority. I will never be a part of the majority because the majority believes that we need to just stay in the past. We don't need to adapt. And the same reasons that killed off Halo are going to come and kill off my second favorite FPS, Battlefield. And you know what? The developers are going to hand that to you on a silver platter because they're killing the game themselves. And you guys are going to help them do it. But what you guys are saying is you want Battlefield to stay Battlefield. You know what Battlefield is? It's always been Conquest. Conquest is Battlefield. Battlefield isn't about slow movement, fast movement, laser beam guns, or inaccurate guns. Battlefield has always been about the vibe. Chaotic at times, coordinated at times, solo man army at times, team push effort at times. Battlefield has always been a sandbox in a way of all these random moments that could happen for you to enjoy. And when you start making the game too technical, you are limiting that from happening. Not taking it away, but limiting it. It's going to be a lot harder to do certain things. We're going to turn this game into just camp here, shoot there, win there. This is what you guys want. This is what I'm hearing. So, anyway, this is my last video about Season 2 changes. I don't want to keep just making this channel complaining about Season 2. I started playing with the M4A1. Fine, so be it. This is the season of the meta weapons, then that's what we'll do. Once I get the VCR unlocked, I'll be using that. I'll drop the M4A1 and go to the VCR. Technically the FAMAS from Battlefield 4. And I'll just use all the meta weapons from now on. Ever since Battlefield 6 launched, and for all of Season 1, I was using a wide range of weapons, and none of them were meta, except for the SGX, but SGX wasn't even the worst gun, and for some reason it got nerfed. I don't know. Wasn't even the strongest meta weapon, but it got nerfed. Make it make sense. When guns like the KV9, SCW-10, Cord, and stuff like that, the DRS exists. The SGX got nerfed, but those guns are still kicking and doing fine. Yeah. That's it, guys. I don't want to put out too many videos about Season 2 being trash because I think I've said it enough. I'm not a fan of Season 2 changes. I wish they would go back. I wish we had more variety in the weapons we use. I wish certain weapons would feel better in the roles that they're designed for, like the L85 is now melting people up close. This should not be happening. The L85 should be dominating you at medium ranges. It should not be insta-killing you at close ranges. But hey, that's what we got, and that's what people want. Anyways, later, dudes. I shot that dude in the dick.
Oh, I'm having all kinds of freaking issues tonight. I think I know why. It's because my freaking brother's here. Where are you? You're all the way over there.
What gun? DRS, of course it is.